Hello and welcome to the evening news for Friday, January 24, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, teens found with guns and grenades remanded. U.S. Embassy issues warning ahead of Linden shutdown. PM says PPPC never stalled economic and social development at Linden. Minibus drivers continue to hike fares despite Minister Ali's caution. Security guard shot at Sophia, gun stolen. And Ramatar says he has accepted Ganga Prasad's resignation. Now for the news in detail. The two teenagers who were on Wednesday intercepted by police officers in South Rhineveld Park carrying grenades and high-powered weaponry were today remanded by Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari after being slapped with 3 charges. Both Kevin George, aged 18 of Castello Housing Scheme, and Samuel Johnson, aged 17 of Allboys Town, pleaded not guilty to the charges, which alleged that on January 21 at Aubrey Barker Road, they had in their possession 1 concussion and 1 fragmentation grenade. The other charge had alleged that they had in their possession 1 M16 rifle and 60.23 rounds of ammunition. Police prosecutor Michael Grant had told the court that ranks and mobile patrol saw the lads on Aubrey Barker Road acting in a suspicious manner. George was carrying a haversack on his back. The haversack was passed between the two defendants until George discarded of it. The police officers approached the young men and carried out a search on their person. Both defendants are to return to court on February 11. President Donald Ramatar has announced that he has accepted the resignation of Ganga Prasad from the post of Local Government Minister. Samuel Suknanan reports.
President Donald Ramatar said that he has fully accepted the resignation of Local Government and Regional Development Minister Ganga Prasad, who submitted his resignation to the government yesterday. When questioned as to whether Prasad was forced to resign, Ramatar did not answer to the direct question but went on to state that he has accepted the resignation.
I think he thought it was time for him to pursue his own issues now, and so I accepted his resignation.
Was he asked by the government, by you, sir, to resign?
I accepted his resignation.
The president said he is not surprised by Prasad's resignation. When questioned as to plans to appoint someone to fill the gap after Prasad demits office on January 31, this is what the president had to say.
I think I don't need to be in a big hurry there. I have a minister in place there already.
Ramatar said while he has been stern with all of his ministers of government, Prasad was never made uncomfortable nor had any reasons to feel that way during his tenure. Ganga Prasad yesterday announced that he had tendered his resignation, citing personal reasons and additional responsibilities. He said it was a pleasure to serve in the capacity of minister and extended gratitude to Ramatar for investing confidence in him to execute his ministerial duties. Prasad was appointed in November 2011 as Local Government and Regional Development Minister when the PPPC won elections in that year. For the evening news, I'm Samuel Suknanan.
Ahead of the planned Linden shutdown, the United States Embassy Public Affairs Department has issued an advisory calling on all American citizens to take precautionary measures, but Region 10 Chairman Sharma Solomon said no one should have security concerns. Svetlana Marshall reports.
Linden, Region 10 will come to a standstill on Saturday in anticipation of President Donald Ramatar's visit for the opening ceremony of a Freedom House branch. The people of Linden are expected to confront the president over the August 21, 2012 agreement, which has failed to bear fruit. Taking into consideration the 2012 Linden unrest, which gripped the town following the shooting to death of 3 Lindeners, the U.S. Embassy Public Affairs Department is advising all Americans to take precautionary measures. According to the U.S. Embassy, although demonstrations are often intended to be peaceful, they sometimes turn out to be confrontational and escalate into violence. As a result, it is calling on American citizens to avoid areas of demonstrations and exercise caution in the vicinity of large gatherings, protests, or demonstrations. However, Region 10 Chairman Sharma Solomon has indicated that the shutdown will be peacefully done. He said the shutdown is being done to register the region's dissatisfaction.
Every resident of this community who would have benefited with the fact that electricity rates, after people would have stood up to say we need to be involved in any decision that will affect us economically, maintained. Those people in this region consciously have every right to confront the president, more so when that president had an opportunity to come when his police force would have killed 3 men. He did not come. When he and his government would have signed on to an agreement to ensure that the people of this region get the basic things to improve their lives, That has not been done 17 months on.
Solomon emphasized that it is critical for the president to address the people of Linden on the August 2012 agreement. He made it clear that the shutdown is not an attack on the People's Progressive Party Civic, but one intended to have the voices of Lindeners heard. The satellite dish and transmitter, which were promised by the government, have not yet been handed over to the region.
They have not officially handed over nothing. The region would have, however, started to do work at the site.
Meanwhile, a Partnership for National Unity leader, David Granger, has said that the people of Linden are shutting down the town to raise legitimate concerns.
It's a local decision. The region, the Upper Demerara, Burbis region, and the township have serious issues with the central government. As you know, on the 21st of August 2012, the RDC and the central government signed an agreement, and essential elements have not been implemented. And I think there is concern by the residents of the region about the failure of government to act in good faith to implement the agreement. That is one of the reasons, and I think the IMC has other issues with the Ministry of Local Government. So there is general dissatisfaction, and it is not a partisan political issue.
Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Svetlana Marshall.
And the Prime Minister Samuel Hinds says the ruling People's Progressive Party Civic has never stalled the economic and social development of Linden and Region 10. Vanu Manikchan explains.
Prime Minister Samuel Hinds said that the government has worked feverishly to improve the socio-economic conditions at Linden and Region 10. In a statement today, he rubbished claims by APNU leader David Granger, Regional Chairman Sharma Solomon, and APNU Vice Chairman Rupert Rupnarine that the PPP government is starving the mining town. The Prime Minister said that Linden has been growing with improvements visible in new buildings and vehicle ownerships. He said that the government has worked hard to get big mining companies to operate in Linden, in addition to a number of infrastructure works in communities across the region. Hinds also addressed issues such as the lack of mutual agreement on affairs of the mining town and the electricity hike, which has been frozen. He added that the government has included in this year's budget some $2,900 million for Linden and another $300 million for Kwakwani Utilities, Inc. The Prime Minister said that Solomon, Granger and Rupnarine have been teaching the people that their primary problem is the PPP government. This, he noted, is political engineering which has been bubbling the development of Linden. He said that the notion of stalled development in the mining town was politically engineered. The entire Linden will be on shutdown on Saturday, an action undertaken by Regional Chairman Sharma Solomon. However, Hinds noted that whether Solomon is successful in the shutdown or not, government will continue to work on putting things together for the good of the people of Linden and Region 10 as a whole. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
This is the Evening News. Stay tuned. More news ahead. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. In this report, you'll hear that it was the opposition political parties that closed the doors to further discussions on the 2014 national budget. We're joined now by Samuel Supnandan.
While the opposition has raised some concerns over the government's response to budget talks, President Donald Ramotar said that both opposition parties have literally closed the doors to budget talks. Ramotar said that while there seems to be some mix-up between correspondences from Finance Minister Dr. Ashley Singh reaching the APNU, information regarding the 2014 budget was sent to other persons in both parties.
My information that the documents were sent to... Yes, for this year's budget. The documents were sent. And not only was it sent to Mr. Greenwich, but to other members in the opposition, both parties in the opposition. So you can verify that, but I have been told by the finance minister that he had sent all the documents that they had requested of him.
The head of state said that the government has always remained open to having discussions regarding the national budget, but the opposition seemed to always have some issue regarding the time and dates for this. Both of the opposition political parties say it is too late to hold budget talks, especially since there are only a few more weeks left before the actual budget is to be presented. A Partnership for National Unity chairman, David Granger, said there has been poor communication on the part of government as it relates to budget talks, which led to a delay in the process. Alliance for Change leader Kamrat Ramjatan said that the government has already sealed a deal in completing the 2014 national budget, which he believes was done purposely to shut the opposition out. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan.
Commuters using Route 44 minibuses faces the problem of drivers increasing the bus fares at certain times of the day. Here's more.
Persons traveling along the east coast of Demerara are constantly faced with the issue of bus drivers raising the fares for certain areas after hours. According to United Minibus Union President Eon Andrews, the dire need for survival is too great and it drives decent people to do strange things.
Of the news of late that the United Minibus Union is in continuous discussion with the Minister of Tourism, Industry and Trade, Home Affairs and Works. Right? We recognize that the problems that the commuters face and the minibus service providers are things we'll have to holistically address, through dialogue and reasoning and probably checking operational costs.
Andrews said that there are one too many minibuses in the country, and in his opinion, that is where the problems really lie. He went on to say that line buses may make 2 to 3 trips a day, whereas the hot plate buses make several, so at the end of the day, when the hot plate buses stop working, those line buses hike their fares so that they can make the profit they were unable to make during the course of the day.
When we would have negotiated over a period of time, we will together give joint statements, whether press statements or live discussions, saying what is and asking that the law enforcement persons at least try to assist us, because if there's no enforcement, nothing that you put out there works.
He noted that not all minibuses in Guyana are part of the union, even though there are more than 14 zones under which they operate. Andrews disclosed that there are members of the union who might want to take that chance to raise the fares, but pointed out when they do so, they will face the law. When asked what is being done about the hot plate buses, he had this to say.
From the direction we are going and the recognition being shown to the union now by central government through its ministry and agencies is a clear indication that hot plating and there will be something, of the past in the short, not too distant future, because what they're really advocating is that most of the buses, or all if possibly, be under the union so that they can be held to certain operational practices, right? We have gone so far. We started with UG, where you're being identified by your apparel, and we will have an arrangement with UG where only persons dressed with that type of clothes, and probably we are having stickers that we're bringing out that will be pasted inside about identifying the buses with the organization.
He noted that this in itself is a work in progress. Anara Khan reporting for the Evening News.
President of the Georgetown Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Clinton Erling, says that Guyana's continued development hinges extensively on the steadfast resilience of the private sector. Alexis Rodney reports.
Erling was at the time delivering the feature address at the launch of Digital Technologies' new store at Brickdam. The Chamber President, while commending the young entrepreneurs Terence and Sabrina Suku, said that in spite of the country's numerous social and financial hiccups, the private sector remains undeterred in its effort to make developmental contributions to Guyana. He also praised the partners of the private sector who continue to support investments, thus aiding economic growth. Erling told the owners of the positive impact their expanded service brings.
Your company seeks to offer solutions to both private, and I heard the chairperson speak about your customers being here. So there's both private and public customers here today. And your services certainly improve the lives of the consumers, and also it enhances and improves the business processes and systems of our own companies.
Erling took the opportunity to urge businesses to become increasingly aware of all principles of information technology, since it not only supports business processes but also enables improved management decisions. Chief Executive Officer of Digital Technology Terence Suku said that the store's expansion had long been on the cards. He pointed out that the entity, recognizing its responsibility to the Guyanese populace, continues to hold the fort as the main supplier of information and communication technology in Guyana.
We recognize our responsibility to the IT sector in Guyana, and therefore, we are not only a product-driven company, rather an end-to-end solutions provider that continuously engage with our stakeholders to offer pre-sales advice and tailor specific solutions to meet their needs.
He communicated the company's continued commitment to these areas.
DT will continue to deliver these new technologies seamlessly to technology-driven clientele by creating awareness of new products and services, configuration, implementation, and an excellent customer service is our way of ensuring each job is a job well done.
The company was first established 11 years ago in Diamond on the east bank of the Marara. Reporting for the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
In light of the recent plane crash, there is a call for better rapid response equipment within the civil aviation sector, which will further enhance the rescue service. More from Natasha Aziz.
Aviation expert Captain Gerald Gavai said that the current rescue helicopter is not capable for the job and that there is a dire need for a better helicopter for search and rescue missions, SAR. This view came in light of the January 18 plane crash where the helicopter which was used did not have the power to stay in place for the victims to be rescued immediately.
We saw it, we were right over it, but we couldn't get it because the helicopters we were using are the very small single-engine helicopters. And those helicopters don't have the power to really stay in one place in the environment like that. And especially if you're attempting to sling men down and rappel men in on a rope onto the aircraft so you could rescue and check the conditions of survivors, those aircraft don't have the power. So because if you had a high wind and there were men on the rope and the pilot got it correct for the wind, he could actually kill the men on the rope or kill himself.
He added that the Bell 412 helicopter, which is parked at the Chedi Jagan International Airport, CJIA, due to maintenance problems, desperately need immediate repairs.
The response to the search and rescue system and the ability not only to put human beings there, but the equipment, helicopters, and the equipment that we need in a rapid response way to save lives. Because even if we may find the aircraft, which is a challenge by itself. But if you find the aircraft, then you must be able to get there to rescue people.
The seasoned aviation expert said one of the improvements the sector is hoping for is more accurate weather reports in the future. He, however, lauded the special forces for their quick response to last Saturday's plane crash. For the Evening News, Natasha Aziz.
In light of the recent call by Transport Minister Robeson Ben with respect to intensifying surveillance at the Ogle International Airport, Trans-Guyana Airways Public Relations Consultant Kit Nascimento disclosed that no qualified flight operation inspector is attached to the airline. Here's more.
Trans-Guyana Airways Public Relations Consultant Kit Nascimento said that the company has written to the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority and Minister Ben for the past 5 years requesting that they engage the services of a flight operations inspector, but this was denied. Nascimento said that he was quite surprised to have heard the minister speaking about heightening surveillance at the facility and thought that it should have been done years ago. Currently, the Trans-Guyana Airways Public Relations Officer noted that there is no inspector to overlook the regulation at Trans-Guyana Airways, which is critical to its operation. He reiterated the need for a flight operations inspection unit for the GCAA to regulate the operations, noting that without this post, errors will occur. These comments came on the heels of the recent crash on Saturday last at Olive Creek, which claimed the lives of the pilot Blake Slater, 25, and cargo loader Dwayne Jacobs, 28. The aircraft was at the time on a shuttle operation between Olive Creek and Ibamadai, transporting fuel. The Mayday emergency call was broadcast at approximately 10 hours 56 on the day it went down. Thus, an aerial search was immediately activated. After 11 hours of search, the wreckage was located on Sunday in the Marikina Mountain by GDF Special Forces. They were then inserted at a location some 1.2 miles from the wreckage and trekked on feet to the crash site. They were joined by another team on Monday and managed to find both Blake and Jacobs dead. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
In the courts, a vendor who resides at 19A Ben Street, Working-Rush, Georgetown, was today placed on $125,000 bail after he appeared before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarain Bihari in the Georgetown Magistrates Court charged with robbery with violence. Christoph Braffett pleaded not guilty to the charge, which alleged that on January 23 at Stabrook, he robbed Shavanya Wallace of one gold chain valued $25,000. The man stood nervously in the docks and told the magistrate that he had never seen the young woman in his life. He further mentioned that he was threatened by a police officer. Police prosecutor Michael Grant told the court that on a day in question, the defendant had approached Wallace and threw her on the ground. He then stopped over her and proceeded to relieve her of the gold chain. The defendant raised an alarm when some public-spirited citizens had told her where the man lived. She made a report to the police station and ranks went to the address provided and arrested the defendant, who was positively identified by the virtual complainant. He was granted bail on the condition that he reports to Constable Shane Frank at the Brigdam Police Station at 15 hours every Friday. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. Stay tuned. One more This is the Evening News. Welcome back. The police are reporting that about 21 hours last evening, security guards Mortimer Maynard, aged 45, and Trevor Fraser, aged 42, who are attached to a private security service, were in the North Sophia area. Fraser was armed with a .38 revolver belonging to the security company. The two security guards were attacked by three men who took away the firearm from Fraser and discharged 3 rounds, one of which struck Maynard to his left thigh. The perpetrators then escaped with the firearm. Maynard has been admitted to the hospital for medical treatment as investigations are in progress. The Civil Service Association Co-op Housing Society said the former Chief Co-op Development Officer Karim Abdul-Jabbar and his 3 other accomplices should be charged for the illegal sale of the Lamaha Gardens playground. Let's find out more from Svetlana Marshall.
The Civil Service Association Co-op Housing Society's attorney Stephen Fraser filed an injunction against the illegal sale of the playground on Wednesday. It is the intention of the co-op to have the transaction rescind. The co-op is also calling for legal action to be taken against the former Chief Co-op Development Officer Karim Abdul-Jabbar, liquidator Cecil Ramnarine, businessman Terrence Taljit, and the acting Chief Evaluation Officer for the sale of the Lot 142 Durbano Square Lamaha Gardens playground. Executive member of the co-op Ronald Ali said the call is being made based on the release of 2 reports submitted by the Ghana Police Force in May and August 2013.
It is important at this stage for me to tell you that the conclusions in that report ended with a suggestion that Karim Abdul-Jabbar, Cecil Ramnarine, who was the liquidator, and Terrence Taljit, the buyer, be charged with conspiracy to commit felony, contrary to Section 33 of the Criminal Law Offences Act. So there is intent for criminal action. Of course, our disappointment is August to January is a long time.
Official reports indicate that on January 13, 2013, the playground was sold to Taljit at a value of $25 million without the knowledge of the co-op. The Chief Co-op Development Officer allegedly played a leading role in the transaction that has been dubbed illegal. His service has since been terminated. It is alleged that the sale was highly flawed, breaching laws governing the cooperative movement in Guyana. Meanwhile, CSA Co-op Housing Society Chairman Roy MacArthur said the playground should be given back to the co-op for its intended purpose.
The children cannot play in it anymore. They're exposed to all kinds of dangers because the area feeds Sophia, which is east of us. And traffic east of us is through Lamaha Gardens. So our security is now threatened. We do not know the traffic passing through Lamaha Gardens 24 hours a day. And what is more, we have people dumping stuff right close to us, just by the Lions Club there, for example. It's a dumping ground for used vehicles. And people who have ideas about attacking people within Lamahara Gardens easily hide out in those vehicles over there.
In defense, Jabbar argued that there were less than 7 persons on the Civil Service Association Co-op, but this was far from the truth since approximately 50 members with valid titles listed on the membership of the association were identified. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Svetlana Marshall.
The Guyana Human Rights Association, the GHRA, has called for an independent probe into the Colvin Harding fiasco as it expressed concern over the seriousness of the allegations made against the Guyana Police Force. The association said in a press release that taken as a whole, the cascade of complaints and unanswered questions raised by this saga increases the urgency of an independent investigation. It also said it has never considered the Office of Professional Responsibility or the Police Complaints Authority to be independent bodies. The GHRA believes that the issues which should be examined include police conducting searches without a warrant, the detention without cause of women, men and minors, the arrest of females by male police officers, especially given the time of arrest, the use of excessive force by police against men, women and minors, members of neighborhood policing group as accessories to sexual assault, establishing the status and rank of person referred to as the constable, the inclusion of civilians in search parties, the alleged sodomy and sexual assault in Harding, and threats of violence. This is the Evening News. Stay tuned. More news still ahead. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. The reigning Chutney King, Roger Hines, also called Young Bill Rogers, is all set to defend his title tomorrow evening at the Bath Settlement Community Centre Ground, West Coast, Berbice. Bishar Mohammed sat with the artist and has details in this report.
Well, I brought me Larky down from India to see my country beautiful Guyana. Well, I took her to a Guyanese Indian wedding. She started to dance when she heard Chutney playing. This Larky had in mind she ain't marrying no more, and single forever, she said is not the cure.
That was young Bill Rogers with his entry Gimme More Chutney as he sets to defend his title at the Culture, Youth and Sport Ministry's Chutney competition on Saturday evening. Speaking with the Evening News, the reigning monarch indicates his readiness to participate in the competition and also has his eyes set to represent Guyana at the international competition in Trinidad and Tobago.
I think I'm well prepared. I'm still working on a few more things to have my dancers, put it together. A good package, man. And you know, the song, Give Me More Chutney, it's like a continuation from last year. Well, I think it's a shorter time now because what I observed is on the 1st of February is where the semi-final will be held. It's only about 5 to 6 days to get that kind of preparation. You don't know exactly who would win the competition at a point of time. And as you know, the 43 persons already picked for the semi-finals. And this year, as the coordinator, Mr. George, said that the winner, I think, should be going to the semi.
He also reflected on the past year as reigning Chutney King and things that more should have been done to promote him.
It was a good year, reigning as the Chutney monarch and thing. I had a few gigs wherever I go in terms of singing places. I always, put in the Chutney song and make sure that I sing the Chutney song anywhere. I have had a lot of good response from a lot of people around the world. I could remember one time and when this girlie Prasad and Adrian, they won in their categories. Girlie and Adrian did advertisement. We're promoting, their stuff, as a Chutney monarch, as a soca monarch. For my reign, nothing has done for me. In terms of even the big Chutney shows, that I have in Guyana, nobody called me.
He also noted that Fiona Singh, Prince JP, Amir Khan, Harry Singh and Stephen Rampal are good at what they do and is certain that they will bring their A game on competition night. Thus, he has to put up a good show. 15 persons will be competing in the competition and the possibility exists that the reigning monarch, Roger Hines, has the potential to successfully defend his title, but close attention is also being placed on former Chutney Queen Fiona Singh with her entry Blow, Stephen Rampal with his song titled Indian Queen, Prince JP with his tune entitled Indian Drums, and Shakti Strings lead singer Puran Siraj with Under the Maro. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Deko, Sono, sing along and let the chutney flow. Give me more chutney, tum Raja Mirani. Give me more chutney, to mere zindagi. Give me more chutney, I want to jiggle me belly. Give me more chutney, me mahabat kahani.
Meanwhile, matrimony activities in Region 2 are gaining momentum, setting the pace for a grand finale on February 23, when the town of Anne Regina will come alive in a rainbow of colours. The series of events and activities planned in commemoration of Guyana's 44th Republic Anniversary celebration in Region 2 officially kicked off on January 20 with a children's competition at the Anne Regina Community Centre ground. The competition continued on Thursday with a 5,000-metre open 5-stage relay, which commenced at Lima and ended on the Anne Regina Car Park. The race was organised by the Department of Culture, Youth and Sport in collaboration with the Region 2 Administration and the Matrimony Planning Committee. Participating in the race were students from the 7 secondary schools on the Essequibo Coast: Pomona, Johanna Cecilia, Abraham Zool, Cottonfield, 8th of May, and the Anne Regina Multilateral School, as well as the charity and the Essequibo Technical Institutes. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. Stay tuned for sport, sponsored by Mangkok. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at your bridge reports. The Damar Harbour Bridge will be closed on Saturday, January 25 at 11 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Burberry Silver Bridge will be closed on Saturday, January 25 at 10 hours 55 for a period of 1.5 hours. And with that, we've come to the end of the Evening News for Friday, January 24, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. This is Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport. In the headlines, Limacall CPL franchises can retain up to 6 players. Warm-up pool and schedule despite setback. England snap losing streak in Australia, and Nadal beats Federer to reach Australian Open final. Now for the details. We start with cricket news, with the second Limacall Caribbean Premier League confirmed for July 10 to August 16 this year. The organisers have commenced work to ensure the region's marquee T20 event surpasses the resounding success it was in 2013. More in this report. During an exclusive interview with this newscast on Thursday, Chief Executive Officer of the Limacall CPL, Pete Russell, announced that there will be several new dimensions to this year's tournament, among them a larger draft and the retention of players.
We want to have the draft in March. That's our stated intention. In terms of the changes, obviously from last year, we think the structure's right, so it's still going to be based on a salary cap and it's still going to be based on draft picks. The one confirmed player is the West Indies franchise player, so Sunil Narayan will obviously be the player down here in terms of that position. But obviously from last year, what you're allowed to do is now retain players. So there's a process whereby each team can retain 6 players from last year, 2 of which can be internationals.
Over 200 players were in the draft last year, and when that process was completed, each of the 6 franchises, the Antigua Hawksbills, Barbados Tridents, Guyana Amazon Warriors, Jamaica Tallawahs, St. Lucia Zooks and Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel, was allotted 15 players. Digicel Group's Marketing Operations Director Kieran Foley explained that the league will attract a cadre of high-quality T20 stars, given the fact that not much international cricket will be played during that time. It will also come on the heels of the Football World Cup, and Foley feels it will be the perfect fit for sports fans.
We're going to go from football to cricket. So we're going to follow on directly after the FIFA World Cup and straight into our cricket tournaments. So that people have that unending sport. It's almost, you have a need to see more sport after the World Cup, and so we're going to be the fix for that. So what we wanted to do was ensure, as I said, that we extend the number of games, we extend ourselves. Such was the success of last year that we have great headaches this year, whereby there are other countries who have contacted us and said, we've got World Cup stadia, we want games here, we have infrastructure as well. So that's a great headache for us to have.
The 2014 tournament will comprise 30 matches, an increase of 6 from the inaugural tournament, which attracted players from Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Pakistan, Australia, Bangladesh, South Africa and Ireland. When action bowls off in July, the Jamaican Tallowers will put their title on the line. The Chris Gayle-led side defeated pre-tournament favourites, the Ghana Amazon Warriors, led by Ramnarish Sarwan in the final at the Queen's Park Oval. Further afield, England sealed their first victory over Australia on tour with a 57-run win in the fourth one-day international. Joss Butler hit 4 sixes in his 71 from 43 balls. Ben Stokes struck 70 off 84, and Ian Bell made 55 as England posted 316 for 8 after being asked to bat. Aaron Finch blasted an explosive second century of the series with 4 sixes in his 108, but Australia were all out in the 40th over, with Stokes taking 4 for 39. It left Australia 3-1 up in the series with 1 match to play on Sunday. Back on the local scene, construction of the 25-metre warm-up pool at Linden is moving at pace, despite the laying of the foundation being behind schedule. This is according to Sport Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. Inclement weather over the past few weeks has hampered work on the foundation, but Minister Anthony said he was assured by the contractors that the project would be completed within the stipulated time frame.
In the meantime, with the Olympic-sized pool, we are going to be returning that to use very shortly. By next week, we should have that back in operation. As you know, we had released the water because of the construction work that we were doing nearby. So we are now in the process of doing some maintenance on it, and by next week it will be back in operation. But I'm assured by the engineer who is supervising the project that they'll try to recoup some of that time so that we'll finish the overall project within the time frame that we had set. But with like all these construction things, it is sometimes very difficult to put a fixed date. While we might want to work towards that date, there's always a challenge, whether weather or something goes wrong. And a lot of those things are out of our control. So we are working with them, and we are trying to push them to make sure that the job is done, because we recognize that the pool is a very vital thing, and that's why we're returning the 50-meter pool to use.
When completed, the warm-up pool, which will complement the Olympic-sized 50-meter pool, will put Guyana in a prime position to host prestigious regional and international meets. Now for some international tennis news. Rafael Nadal powered past Roger Federer to reach the Australian Open final and maintain his dominance over the 17-time Grand Slam champion. The world number 1 came through 7-6, 6-3, 6-3 and goes on to face Federer's compatriot Stanislas Wawrinka for the title on Sunday. The Spaniard, aged 27, will be a strong favourite to claim his 14th slam and become only the 3rd man to win all 4 majors at least twice. Nadal was in brilliant form in his 33rd meeting with Federer, overcoming a blister on his racket hand and, if anything, growing stronger as the match progressed. Federer, 32, had captured the headlines throughout the tournament with his eye-catching form built around some excellent serving, but he was constantly under pressure against his opponent. Finally, some cycling news. After staging a record 42 events in 2013, national cycling coach Hassan Mohammed will on Saturday roll out another packed program of activities for 2014 with the aim of surpassing his achievements of the past year. More in this report.
The cycling season in Georgetown will commence with the 21st annual Ricks and Sari Agro Industries Limited's 11-race cycle program at the inner circuit of the national park. The program will pedal off at 900 hours, and according to Mohammed, the event should set the tone for the rest of the season. The long-serving national coach said that the long list of corporate entities and the National Sports Commission are expected to renew their sponsorship of the various events, making it much easier to match or surpass the achievements of previous years. Saturday's program will see the riders competing in 12 to 14 Open, BMX Boys 12 to 14, Veterans Under 50, BMX Boys 9 to 12, Veterans Over 50, BMX Boys 6 to 9, Uprights, BMX Girls 6 to 12, BMX Boys Open, Juveniles, and the feature Schoolboys and Invitational 35 lap. In 2013, Reynard Jeffrey clocked 1 hour 60 minutes 56 seconds to win the feature race, while Roy Leal was victorious in the juvenile 10 lap in a time of 25 minutes 12.34 seconds. Leal will resume competitive cycling after recovering fully from the career-threatening injuries he sustained in May last following a road accident in which he sustained a broken right forearm and right leg while training. The first event of 2014 was held in Berbice and was won by Linden's Orville Hines. The road race was sponsored by Benjamin's Sports Store of Friarish, Quarantine. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
And with that, we've come to the end of sport. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Ghana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Ghana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown and Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. Stay tuned. Your Bridge Reports are next.